data shows hundreds of thousands of self-employed Kiwis could be heading for a rough retirement. They're contributing to KiwiSaver at less than half the rate of employees, and many are missing out on the government contributions because of irregular income or low earnings. A joint report from the Retirement Commission and Henry highlights this growing gap. Nearly half of sole traders saving only between 1 and 10% of their income. Some aren't saving anything at all. Retirement Commissioner Jane Wrightson warns that without reform, many retirees will heavily rely on government support, putting pressure on public funds. And she joins me now. Jane, good afternoon.
Hi, Leah. How are you?
Good. Lovely to talk again. I appreciate your time. Am I correct in saying this particular data, is it new data that really hadn't been looked into before?
That's right. It's quite hard to pull the work together, so that's why we partner with Henry, which is an accounting platform that specialises in sole traders. Plus, we looked at the data from Stats New Zealand. Plus, we looked at admin data. So there's kind of 3 data sets in here that we've had to crunch to come up with understanding what's happening with self-employed, because it was a question. I said, what's happening there, and are they better off or worse off than employees? And the answer is that a fair chunk of them are worse off.
Yeah. Did that surprise you, Jane? I mean, how worrying is it that hundreds of thousands potentially could end up financially vulnerable in retirement?
Of course it's a worry. I mean, there are over 420,000 self-employed people, and they range from healthcare workers and tradies and creative freelancers and, contractors, consultants, gig workers, those kind of people. We're not talking about small businesses. We're talking about sole traders. Sure. So some of them do fine, and some of them are basically just working for themselves and working contract to contract. With nothing much to see at the end of the month. So the way KiwiSaver is designed is that you have employer contribution, so the sole trader has to pay themselves and then pay their own contribution on top of it. That gets a bit tricky. And it's also designed for regular regular contributions, right? The same amount every month or fortnight. Whereas, as we know, sole trader income is very lumpy. You might be earning, $500 this week and $250 the next week and $700 the next week. And the KiwiSaver system doesn't allow for those kind of lumpy contributions. So the settings need to be looked at, we think, to help.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I mean, is it just about the money, or are there other barriers that stop self-employed from saving?
The other one's quite an easy one. Employees used to be opt-in, meaning you have to make the active decision to join, whereas now it's opt-out. You were signed up and you have to make an active decision to get out, right? Yeah. And it's called a nudge, if you like. And what we found with employees is that once people are in, they're there, which is good. They can stop contributions for a bit. If they're in trouble, there's a number of options they've got. But once they're in, they're in. So just reversing that for self-employed would also be a good thing. When you register your sole trader status, you enrolled in a KiwiSaver account, and then you've got some active choices to make.
Yes. Well, that popped up, didn't it, in the report? They looked at overseas ideas like automatic enrolment, like you're talking about, but also flexible contributions. Is that something that
that's
you're
the lumpy
about?
Income that that's the lumpy income bit. So you can contribute differently. Absolutely, because again, for self-employed and sole traders, that's really important because they don't earn an even amount like we employees do.
Talk us through targeted financial education and engagement. That was highlighted in the report as well.
Yeah, and again, that's just, we have a different kind of financial education for different kinds of people, but I don't think self-employed or sole traders in their stress of kind of, their daily life are given enough proper information about what that means for their future selves. So, if you structured your business in a slightly different kind of way, you might be able to save more. If you thought about, what will happen, 10 years after you finish your business, what happens then? So you kind of need key information in a language you understand that's relevant to you. And most KiwiSaver stuff, of course, is talking about employees. And so
Yes.
it kind of goes
Yeah.
over people's heads a bit, and we talk about this a lot. It's why when we're working now with financial education in schools, you have to target to the appropriate audience. Otherwise, people just ignore it because, financial
Yeah.
stuff is easy to ignore, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And it's not the most sexiest, no disrespect, Jane, but it's not the most sexiest topic, maybe,
No,
talking
no,
about
it's
saving.
absolutely not. No,
Yeah.
that's right. Of course, it's not. It's
Yeah.
it's one of these things you need to do,
Yes.
but you can easily put it off for quite a long time, and then every time you put it off, you make yourself worse off. It's pretty simple.
I know. I mean, I actually loved Henry. They were great for me when I was a sole trader for a small amount of time a couple of years ago. But Jane, I let my KiwiSaver slide because I was making, my weekly. I made different amounts. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it wasn't. And, I always had it in my head, you got to pay yourself, Leah, you got to make sure. And then bills come and other things come along and you just go from job to job and you kind of forget about it.
You absolutely do because you're busy earning a living.
Yeah.
And there aren't the kind of guardrails and nudges that you have as an employee, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you need different products as well. One of the things we say is particularly this month, because it's sorted money month, is to set up an emergency fund. Well, what does that look like for a sole trader? You need money on the side to help you when your car blows up or your fridge breaks down or you have your health crisis, whatever is going on. Set your emergency fund up. Now, if you could do that alongside a retirement account, that would be very smart, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So what we're saying is that the settings for KiwiSaver need to be looked at quite carefully
Yeah.
to take into account, 420,000 New Zealanders, and that figure we think will rise. So a significant chunk of the population isn't being treated as well as it could be in terms of its retirement saving.
That's a very good point. With employment rates rising as well, there will be a lot of people doing gig economy, taking little jobs where they can get them. Interesting. I've spoken to friends that have looked at things that they've had to stop or pull back on or not put so much money in. And it's been, the top three have been life insurance, health insurance, and KiwiSaver.